Hi guys, and welcome back to AverageJoeDev. This is day 2 on our journey to take a idea for a mobile app all the way to the App Store. Now, last time we looked at the idea itself, which is an anonymous chat application, and we built a small, a basic prototype to show the functionality of the app. Today we will go through creating all of the accounts that we will need to build this app. So we'll create our Microsoft account, our Azure account, we'll also create our DevOps account and our AppCenter account. After we've created all of these accounts, we will go through installing Microsoft Visual Studio and then actually creating the project that we will be working on. So let's open Edge up. I'm gonna go again to Microsoft.com. So Microsoft.com. Click on sign in, create a new account. We want to create with an email address as well, and I'm gonna type AverageJoeDev in here. Click next. We want to create a password. Let's create a password. Click next. We need a little more info to set up, so I'm just gonna say this is Average Joe and our surname shall be Dev. I'm United Kingdom. Date of birth, I'll just set the 1st of January 1988. There we go. Let's wait for our account to get created. We need to solve a puzzle. Let's go solve a puzzle. So tap on the arrows to rotate the image. That should be fair enough. Good. I'm happy I passed the test. Good thing I'm not a robot. So that's our account, Average Joe. After we create our Microsoft account, we will go to create our Azure account, which is portal.azure.com. Now we need to log in with our Microsoft account, so that's AverageJoeDev@outlook.com, and this will log us into our Microsoft Azure. Now I know about all of the settings here. We'll click maybe later, and these are all of the services that we have available for us. We have a starting allowance from Microsoft. I think it's about $200, where we can explore and test new services, which should be enough for us to start our project. Now another place we'll need to set up is our DevOps account. Now I know that that's under my.visualstudio.com. Again, we'll need to log in with our Microsoft account. If you do have one, you don't need to create a new one. From I would like to receive. No, I will not. Don't want to receive any information. Let's wait for that to log in. While we wait for that to load, there we go. What does it say? Clicking, that's fine. So in here we can activate our free Azure account credit. So I will just hit activate to activate our credit on Microsoft Azure. I will post all of these links into the description of the video. So company VAD, no, we don't need. We agree. Like information, no, I would not like any information. Next. The phone is required. Okay, so I'm gonna put this on the side while I enter my phone number. Here we go. I'm gonna hit next after entering my phone number. The phone number is invalid. Let's have a look. How about now? Apparently I don't know my phone number. So it's gonna send me a text to confirm my phone number. let's wait for that to come through. There it is. So I'll just put in my text verification 065 380 verify. It's verifying. Let's just give it a minute. So as you can see on my.visualstudio.com, you have a lot of free stuff that Microsoft basically offers. So it makes you use their platform. So we're gonna get started with Azure DevOps and Visual Studio App Center in a minute. Let's just finish up setting our free account here. Now it asks me for the address as well, so I will fill this in later, but you can fill this in. So just know to enable your free credit account, your $200, you just need to add those details in there. I will add those in and get back to them. Now let's set up our Azure DevOps account as well while we're here. Get started with DevOps, yes. Average Joe. Where do we want our project to be hosted? Yeah, UK South, and let's type in our character. So that's K65X6NL. Good. Let's see if I got that right. They did test me to see if I'm a robot or not, so I did pass that test. Okay. So this sets us on Azure DevOps. The first thing we need to do is create a project for our application. So we call our application the chat. And I will do the same here. I will call the project the chat, and I will create a new private project for us. Now in here, you will see that we have dashboards. We have wikis, we have boards where we can plan our sprint, or plan all of the functionality that we will be building, and we have repos as well. This is where we will host the code for our app. So that's Azure DevOps, and in the future we can schedule automatic deployments as well. So when we publish a new change to our app, we can set it in such a way that it will automatically publish to the App Store, so we don't have to do anything. We will use Visual Studio App Center mostly for analytics, logging, and error reporting, crash reporting basically. So create a free account. We're going to use our personal account. We're going to use Average Joe, and choose your username to start. Yeah, that sounds good to me. Let's see if we can remove the @Outlook. Yes, let's choose this one. Now when you go into App Center, it will ask you to add a new app. We will need to add a new app for our Android app and for our iOS app separately. While we're here, let's just do that now. So enter app name. We will do the chat Android. Select the release. This will be our alpha for now. It will be Android, and we will be building it using Xamarin Forms. So add this app. We have it here. Now if we go back, we can see that this has been added. We need to add the one for iOS as well, so we will call it the chat for iOS. Again, using Xamarin. The type will be alpha as well. We can create one for alpha, beta, enterprise, production. So we'll use these for our testing, but when we go to production, we will probably create a new project for each one, so we can have one for development and one for production. So now that we have our Azure DevOps, our Visual Studio, and our Microsoft Azure set up, let's go in and see how we can install Visual Studio. So if you go to Visual, actually if you just search for Visual Studio in Google search, just click on the first link, which is visualstudio.microsoft.com, and what you're looking for is in here, download Visual Studio. Now you can download any one of these. The community edition is free, professional and enterprise are paid version. You only need community for everything that it will be doing with our app. So let me take you through it. I already have it installed, but I'll show you what you need to install when setting this up. So when you install Visual Studio, you will see that the Visual Studio installer will come up, and you need to select the objects that will need to be installed. One of the things you will need to select is this mobile development with .NET, and it says in the description, build cross-platform applications for iOS, Android using Xamarin. So this is what we will be using. After you install Visual Studio, yeah, you can just open it up. So this is my version of Visual Studio installed in here. Now, before we open Visual Studio and create our project, I just want us to download and install a few, what are they called? Let me see what they are called. I will go new project. No, let me continue without code. So these are called extensions. So we will install how many? 2 extensions, I believe. Let me have a look. So let me search in Google. So we'll need Visual Studio extensions, and we'll need XAML styler. This will really help with our UI page layout. This will automatically style it. So I'll give you the link as well in the video description. Basically just download this and install it. I already have it installed, so I don't need to download it anymore. And the other one we will need to download is Visual Studio extension PRISM. So we will be using the PRISM framework to build our mobile app. Again, I will paste a link in the description of the video, but just know, download the PRISM template pack from our Visual Studio Marketplace and install that. I think these are the only 2 that we'll need to download and install. Yes, they are. So having that out of the way, so we've set up all of the accounts that we will be needing and using to create this app. Let's open Visual Studio up and start and create our project. So I'll just do create new project. Now let's wait for it to load properly. As you can see, I've used PRISM quite a lot in here. Oh, those are recent projects, that's fine. So all you need to do is type in here PRISM after you've installed the template pack for Visual Studio, and we will be using a blank app for Xamarin Forms. Now let's select that. We will give it a name. Let's call it the chat. It will install it in our source repos. That's fine. Let me just open this up. I will go to documents, and let me just put everything in here in a folder. So I'll just call it prototype. This is everything we've built last time, so I'll just put everything in that folder, and I'll create a new folder, call it the chat project. I'll take the path for this folder and just stick it in here. Place solution and project in the same directory. Do we want to place solution and project? Let's have a look. So in here we need to select what we'll be building for. So like I mentioned, using Xamarin Forms you can build for both iOS, Android and Windows platform. Now I'm not very familiar with Windows platform. I've only ever built for Android and iOS. I'm not really sure that anyone is really using Windows platform. So I'm just gonna untick that. We need to select the container. Now we either have Unity or Dry IOC. I usually leave the default. This selection will influence our dependency injections. They both do the same thing, they just use different backend code. So I'll just leave our Dry IOC in there. I'll hit create new project and wait for this to be set up. Let's give it a minute. There we go. So as you can see here on the right, it's created all of the project files for us. It's created the iOS app, the Android app, and our shared project. We'll mostly be working in the shared project, and the platform itself will what is the word I'm looking for? We'll compile the code on both iOS and Android. So we use the same code base for both iOS and Android. Let's test this out. So if I right click and set Android as my startup project, I can see here that I can test this out. So if I click play, this will run a Android emulator on my computer, and it will install the app, and it will run it. So let's have a look. This might take a bit. No, it said that one was successful and one failed. And this has stopped. So it might be that it's failed to install because the emulator was not actually up. So let's give it another try, shall we? So if I click play, deploying, no. Okay, let's see if this is set to deploy. So I'll right click on the solution itself and build project order. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Set startup projects. No, that's not what I'm looking for either. Configuration manager. Yes, an Android chat is set to deploy. Okay, we have our first issue. This will happen during our development. I wasn't expecting, so let's see what the issue is and how we can resolve it. The problem is that the output window here doesn't give me a lot of information. So the build was cancelled by another Xamarin operation is running. Please try again in a moment. The operation could not be completed. So it could be that our project has not finished actually compiling compiling. Yes, compiling. So let's just do a rebuild of the whole solution. And one succeeded, one failed, and one skipped. Why has it failed? So it's telling us that the Xamarin Forms recommended target platform is greater than 10. Okay, so what we will need to do, so it's telling us that the target platform for the Android is lower than it's old, and Android recommends we use a bigger target. So it's using the compiled version is using Android 10, and the target platform is Android 10 as well. So let's increase that. Let's make it Android 11. It will pop up with a confirmation message. Let's just click OK on that. It will take a bit to update the settings. There we go, that's been updated. No, we don't want to save. So this is our compile Android. Now we need to go back here and tell our target Android to be the same version as our compile version, and the minimum version is how back the compatibility our app will need to go. So right now it's all the way down to Android 5.0 Lollipop. I usually like to take that up a notch and go to Android 6.0, which is Marshmallow. I think there was a heat map with all of the Android versions out there, and Android 6 was one of the most used Android versions. So that might have changed. I haven't checked that statistic in a while now. So now that we have those set up, let's rebuild our solution again and let's see what it says. So it's still building. Let's give it a minute. So that's interesting. We hit an issue right off the start. Usually this would just work after you just created the project, but these types of issues we're gonna run into a lot while we develop. Let's try publishing the app now. So at least it hasn't given us a warning and it's doing something in the background, which is always a good sign. So it's found the device emulator, and there we go. So our app is now running in our emulator. It will be the same as if we're running it on our mobile phone. So that's all we need to do to create our first mobile app. Now, I still want to do a few things before we start managing the project. So one thing I want to do is, because we will have both our backend services and our mobile app projects in the same solution, I want to do some housekeeping on the actual file structure. So I'll close the solution. I will go back to our project. So in here we can see that in the chat project it's created the chat folder, and in here it's created a solution, and then it's just created these. Now it's created one level more than I'm comfortable with, so yeah, I'll just copy these and move them one folder up. Is opening another program. That's not what I wanted to see. The action can be completed. Let's skip and see what gets left behind. Is this still being used by any chance? Let me quit Visual Studio completely. It's only copied the solution and nothing else. So let me try one more time. So in here, well, oh no, there we go. So the chat Android, that's still in there. What if I do this? Still being used somewhere. That's not what I wanted to do. Okay, let's where are we here? View models. Okay, this has broken a bit because we've had the chat as a project, then the chat as another folder. So this has broken our project completely, but I will delete it. Cannot delete it. I will rename it, the chat old. This will need to be deleted. This will need to be deleted after I restart my PC. So let's let's create the project again and see if we can do it better this time. So I'll remove this solution from my list. I'll create a new project. I will select Xamarin Forms as my not module, so we'll need let's just type in Prism here at the top, Prism, and our project is Prism blank app with Xamarin Forms. Click next. We will call this the chat v2, the chat project. Actually, I want to call this the chat. I don't want to call it v2. And instead of the chat project, I'm going to create a new folder in here and call it the chat project v2. Select the folder, click create again. Again, I'm gonna, Windows app is already unselected. Dry OC, create project. It will quickly create our project, and now we know that we need to change the target framework for our Android app. So let's quickly do that. So we let this create all of the files we need. One indicator to know that your project has been completed is when it opens the this reference drop down. That's when it installs all of the NuGet packages. So let's see if I am right. It says it's ready, so I tell a lie. Let's increase our target framework for Android. So I just went to right click and properties and on the Android project over here. So we increase the target framework from 10.0, which is Q, to 11.0, and in the Android.manifest we will use a target Android version to 11.0 as well. I'll just increase this from 5.0 to 6.0, which is Marshmallow. Save this and just do a rebuild of the solution. Give that a few seconds to build. There we go, that's done. We will right click and set this as our startup project, and then here we can just click play. This will open up the emulator and it will open up with the previous app. So our previous app is already installed on the device. You can just close it, and this will again run and install the app in debug mode, so we will be able to debug moving forward using the emulator. There we go. That's our loading screen. That's our default loading screen by Prism, which is being set, and this is our main page. So we've built this project from scratch a second time. Now again, let's see if we can do some maintenance on our folder structure. So I'll go in project v2, have the chat, and I wanna first of all I want to close the solution. So again, I want to do this because we're gonna have both our mobile project and our backend projects together in the same solution. So I want to cut our solution and put it at the actual base of the project folder. So this will be our mobile app folder, and this will be our, and we can create a new backend services folder. Now I've done this so we wouldn't have to go in this folder to actually open the project. Now when I will remove this from here. By doing this, it has broken the links to the other projects, but I can easily recreate that by going to open project or solution. Again, we'll go to our downloads, project v2. This is our solution that we just created. What is it trying to install now? .NET Desktop development. I may do that later. So as you can see, it cannot see our shared project, Android and iOS projects that we've just used. So I'll just right click and remove them. Let me turn the sound down on my Windows again. I shall remove these, and then right click and add existing project. Now we can go back to where we had these. Chat, this is our shared project. There we go. Then I'm gonna add our iOS and Android projects in here as well. So add existing project, iOS. There we go. So we're back to where we started. One thing I just want to confirm, that we have our build order. That's not what I wanted to see. So where is the build order? There we go. So we want the build order to be our shared app, then Android, and then iOS. And dependencies, our shared app doesn't have any dependencies on Android or iOS project, but the Android and iOS project will each have a dependency on the chat, which is our shared library. So if I go to Android, we can see it has a dependency on the chat. If we go to iOS, again, that has a dependency on the chat as well. So if I right click and set this as my startup project again and click on here, this will again build the app and publish it. Now something has happened in here. I think it just ran and I closed it. Let me click run again. There we go. So I just it just ran very quickly because it already had it open and I closed it. But there we go. The app runs, and that's all it takes for us to basically build a project with a basic app. Now to go back, we've created our Microsoft account and we've enabled our Azure. So let me go back in here to my.visualstudio. So in here we've enabled our Azure account, which gives us this $200 credit, free credit, which we can use for a period of 12 months. This should be enough for us to build our app and even publish it to production. We've built an Azure DevOps account. This will let us host our code and manage it. And then we've enabled our Visual Studio AppCenter account, which we will use for logging and error reporting. Now one last thing we need to do is we need to connect our project to Azure DevOps. So one way to do that is in here under Git changes, we can create a Git repository. So this is the path. Now we don't want a GitHub account. Let's have a look, because I have not done this before. Usually what I do is I go to the actual repo and I clone it. Import a repository. Yeah, we can import a repository from GitHub. That's not what we want. We could clone it in Visual Studio, but this will create a new folder and we will need to copy our project into that folder. That's fairly straightforward to do. I just want to see if I can push our existing project into our DevOps account. So if I do other remote URL, so let's go back to our DevOps, and this is our remote. Let's see if it works if we just copy this and create and push. And it has connected to our remote. It will ask us to log in, and let's just use our new Microsoft account. That will be AverageJoeDev at Hotmail. No, it was at Outlook.com. Already signed in. Sign out and sign in on a different account. Yes. Not sure what that was. So password. The repository is hosted in Azure DevOps. Connect to Azure DevOps to enable access to work items and builds. That's a good idea. Again, I'm going to use AverageJoeDev. And there we go. We have the chat over here. Not sure. I will connect. I've never used this before, so I'm not sure how it will react. We have get changes, 0 incoming, outgoing. Well, we do have our full project that we'll need to push. It does say that it's connected. I'm curious to see if it's pushed our project in here. So if I go to repo, if I click on, oh, there we go. So it's already pushed our project just now. So we don't have to do anything. So in the future, if we make any changes, let's see. So in here, I will explain what these do when we start developing the app. We're using a model view model approach, which is standard for Xamarin Forms development. So what we have is our model is basically a representation of our database table. We have our view, which is our page, and the view model is the thing that connects the actual model to the view. So it's our, if you're used to model view controller, it's basically the controller. So in here under views we have our views, and under view models we have our view model. So if I click on main page, the page is written in XAML. Let me zoom in a bit so you can see it better. So this is our XAML page. So as you've seen, it just has a simple welcome to Xamarin, and in the back end we have our main page view model, which just says which sets the title, and in here we will basically set all of our code, like going to a web service and pulling all of the data and displaying it on the page. Everything will be done in the view model, and the model will just say, okay, I want this information displayed in this certain way. So to demonstrate that, I'm just gonna add a button over here. We will set the text for the button as click me, and we will set its horizontal position as center, its vertical position as center, and we will set the background color to a green, a dark green, and we can set our text color to white. There we go. We'll close that, and if we run, so as you just noticed, I'll show you this again. So if I just copy this, if I cut these and paste them here at the bottom, when I click save, these will get automatically reordered. This is from our XAML styler extension that we added earlier. So when I click save, there we go, it's just styled the XAML nicely for us, and it will keep the same consistency across all of the elements we will be using. So if I just test this again, we still have the app open, but it will rebuild and republish. There we go. We don't want that. There we go. So the app is booting again, and there we have our button that we just created, click me. There we go. And I believe we also have a option enabled in here. So if I go to tools options, under debugging, where is debugging? Debugging, there we go. We have hot reload. What hot reload does, so if you don't have enabled, you can enable it. This is only for Xamarin Forms 5 0 or later. But what this enables is, if I make a change over here, it will update the changes in the UI without us needing to republish the app. So if let's say if I want the color to be red and I save this, when we go back to the app, that will refresh the app and the color of the text will be red now. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please let me know. And yeah, I hope to see you all tomorrow.